And I'm very sorry, Kriss Akabusi, but
That's okay, Nigel. I'm supposed to be an athlete, so I'm taking it easy, buddy. You're on the same schedule as me.
Cheers. Kriss, I'm trying to think. Is there a popular television programme that you actually haven't appeared on? Because looking at the list, I mean, it's almost unbelievable, isn't it? You know, A Question of Sport, which used to be great.
Yes, yeah.
I'm not so sure it is anymore, to be honest with you. Lost some of its humour. They Think It's All Over.
It is now.
Last of a Summer Wine.
I know.
Come Dine With Me. Cameo role in EastEnders.
I know.
The Big Fat Quiz of the 80s, A League of Their Own, never mind. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. You must love telly.
I've been a lucky boy, you know. It's really funny. When I was a kid at school, the big refrain was Akabusi out or Akabusi sit down, shut up and stop running around. I've been paid in my life thereafter, get up, run around and laugh. So all those programmes, they just Akabusi, go on and laugh.
Well, that's why they keep inviting you back.
Yeah.
But you obviously have great fun doing it.
You know, life's for living. I've been a very lucky lad. I've enjoyed my life, and I learned early on that if you laugh, the world laughs with you. Now.
What rather than at you?
Well, actually, that's a good question, because that's often saying is that I left school with 9 no levels, and so actually I think the teachers had the last laugh, because I was laughing in school, they're laughing at me now.
Yeah, and so the army, was it the army that made Kriss Akabusi?
Yeah, the army was my saving grace. I was living in the children's home. I was very scared of the reality that I had to leave the home. I was going to be working in sort of in between Edmonton and Tottenham. And I knew I couldn't look after myself. Bed sit down was terrifying. The army was a safe, secure place to be. You had 3 square meals a day. You had a roof over your head. And you had some clothes. I mean, they were green, but they were clothes.
Yeah.
But the most important thing for me really was male role models. And I know you've got to be careful what you say in today's world, but certainly in the world that I was born up in, it was very important for a young man like me who was, you know, a little bit all over the place, not sure of who he was, where he was going, very exuberant, exciting, gregarious, that you had this sort of infrastructure where they were, at that time, senior males at the top who would keep you into line.
And you respected those guys?
100%, oh yeah. I remember my very first day on the parade square. There's a little jock, because he was a Scotsman, they called him Jock, and he bellowed on the parade square, 800 men on parade! By the end of the 28 weeks, 200 would be sick, 100 would be lame, and 100 going to mama! And I knew when he shouted that across the parade square, I knew it wasn't going to be me. And for the very first time in my life, I made a resignation to stick at something, to belong at something, to make something.
And not to fail.
And every week, the kids were going off of camp, and I was there. So I was proud as punch.
Yeah.
28th week, I was there, best bib and tucker, making my way into the army.
And sport, not part of your life particularly before you joined the army, which is very, given what you went on to do, very, very unusual. Yeah. So what age are you when you really take up sport properly?
So at school, all disciplined, I've already said that, didn't turn up for training, joined the army, met a guy called Sergeant Mackenzie. He was an army athlete, and he invested in me, brought me on my athletic spikes, developed a training programme, put me into races north east of England. I was up there, Wyatt, Divonalik, in Newcastle. That's my watch, by the way. I was up there in the north east of the country. And every time I performed very well, he put up on company orders. And company orders is a thing that you have at the guard room. Every soldier that goes back looks at company orders, Akabusi army flyer. Akabusi does it again. Akabusi North East champion. All of a sudden, I felt massive. And that was my gateway into the world of international athletics. And in 1983, went to the World Championships. I was a British champion in the 400 metres flat, went to the World Championships, and bingo, part of the British team, come away with Olympic medal a year later.
You got a silver, didn't you, in Los Angeles?
Bingo, Nigel! Right on cue. You must have knew it was coming. There you go. There he goes, buddy. I've carried that with me for the last 37 years.
I've got to say, I have never, ever, I don't think, held an Olympic medal.
Neither Stephen Woodgrave.
So that is something else, isn't it?
Thank you very much.
And that is something else.
It's my denkmal, and a denkmal is a general word which means to think on cogitate, ruminate on, and to hold on to.
And you carry this every day?
Every single day of my life, it's with me, because it tells me with a dream, the right people in your life, commitment, dedication, you can do great things.
For those of you out there who think Kriss Akabusi is just a TV star, because you're not old enough to remember him as an athlete, we're going to show a clip. And this is Kriss in the World Athletics Championships 1991, Tokyo, in the 4x400 metres relay, the gold medal winning leg. Let's have a look.
In the individual event, Akabusi, bronze in the 400 hurdles. Here he goes. This is the important point. Can Akabusi do it? Akabusi has a go, and the American is beaten, and he's fighting back. Akabusi has made it. Akabusi, gold for Britain. America second, and Jamaica third.
Having a look at this, Kriss. So it was World Championships, European Championships, Commonwealth Games, but golds. And breaking David Hemery's record that had been there. He was a great athlete.
An amazing athlete.
And he was an athlete winning at a time when, the Olympics for us, I mean, you literally could put the gold medal winners and silver medal winners in a telephone box.
Absolutely.
Because we get one a game or two a game or whatever it was. You actually had quite a long career, didn't you, really?
Yeah. David Hemery, 68.
Yes.
I remember it. And even when I got into the team, I got into the team ages 83, 84. Our champions were Sebastian Coe, Nordco now, Steve Ovett, Steve Cram, Oba Daley Thompson. These were our stars. For the rest of us, really, the main aim was to get on the plane. It wasn't until the mid-80s that it started happening.
I'm only here for the bit.
Yeah, exactly right. We get a lovely little badge, get a little pin, and I'm in LA, yeah. But from the mid-80s onwards, Team GB was just massive. And the names like Christie, Gunnell, Jackson, Regis.
And then the lottery funding. And it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I don't think John Major got a lot right. But I do think some of that lottery funding being targeted at sport, it did make a difference, didn't it?
It did make a difference. To a lot of sports, the cycling, the rowing. If you think of the London 2012 Games, if you think of Rio 2016 and the success we had there, I think you can put a lot at the door of lottery funding. However, my challenge is that because the money was there right at the beginning for a lot of athletes, I wonder how hungry they remained. So someone like myself, for example, I wasn't earning any money in track and field athletics until my last 3 or 4 years, because unless you made finals, you didn't make any money. And there was a guy called Eli Kulakundus who was a massive benefactor. And Eddie was a guy who paid for my warm weather training, for example. And it was really important to go away, as lovely as Great Britain is, you can't be doing reps, 300s, 200s, 100s in December and January here. You've got to go to California, check out the sunshine.
I gotta say, you don't need to do any of that.
You do the reps
nonsense.
You work out for about 2 hours and the rest of it, let's hang out on the beach, and say, Daley Thompson's in your face. Oh, no, it's a good
thing. I mean, you see, I can remember growing up, it was almost like we kind of enjoyed not being champions at things. It was it was part of our, we gave it our best shot.
Yeah.
And suddenly, young kids want British athletes to win.
Yeah. It's all of a sudden it's cool to win.
Yes.
I mean,
so is that a sort of American influence on us, do you think? The Americans like winning, don't they?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I think, as I said, in the 80s and 90s, with us lot going across to America and going to their backyard and training with them and seeing them and all that. And then there was another guy called Andy Norman. And anybody who's into athletics knows that Andy Norman was the impresario. And Andy brought all the big names to the United Kingdom. And again, there was only a few channels, so you had Phillips Nights of Athletics on a Friday, you had another major meet on a Saturday, the whole of the nation would key into that, you got the best American stars, and you got us also ones, but every single race, you're getting closer and closer, so that come the major championships, all of a sudden, I've raced you 3 or 4 times, and actually, I'm that close. And so I think you get that confidence, and that belief in yourself, and that idea that I can do this. On my day, I can do this. So I think there's a whole raft of things.
A confidence thing, and all of it.
Yeah.
So are we in a good place now with athletics? Looking ahead for British athletics?
So we've got So women's athletics is in a better shape than the men's athletics for GB.
Yeah.
So, we've got quite a few great, good women middle distance runners. But like my event, actually no, because Roger Black and Dave Redmond, they nussed me out and had to go to the 400 hurdles. But my old event, the 400 flat, where we were brilliant, we didn't take anybody to the last games. So there's some ups and downs. I do think that professional football has taken a lot of our athletes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just as athletics has taken the Jamaican sprinters away from cricket.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Those great sprinters were also really good cricketers.
Michael Holding coming down at you.
No. I mean, Bolt
played
first-class cricket in the West Indies and could have been a test bowler.
Sure.
But so sports are competitive with each other. Sure. Outside of all of that, Kriss, you've got some quite strong views on the world, or say strong views, clearly defined views. You thought Scotland should stay with the United Kingdom, and you felt very, very strongly about that, and you've always been much more on the conservative side of thinking than you've been on the...
Supported you in Brexit.
I know. No, well, you were. I mean, actually, you were interested in what I was doing going back a long, long way. I mean.
So now tell me, forgive me if I've got this picture in my head that I met you at a airport once. This is before you were, right at the top of your game, and that we had a conversation about some of the things that you were thinking about. But it could
be. That was in 2004.
Oh, was that you? Remember it?
It was.
I thought it was hallucinations.
Can't forget you, mate. Can we? And I was very struck meeting you back then, say almost 20 years ago. That you were thinking along these lines and asking questions about all of this. But it's difficult, Kriss, isn't it? Doing all the TV stuff you do, you can't say too much, really, can you?
Well, that's a good question.
Just the way the world is these days.
Yeah.
It's very judgmental, isn't it?
Yeah. So it is very difficult when you want to fit in, daring to stand out. And you are aware when you're building your career and that you can say a few things wrong, and then all of a sudden you are
you're out.
Sidelined and you're out. And then your way of feeding your family and looking after the people that matter most to you is taken away from you. But then as you get a little bit older, and I'm 63 now, you begin to realise, this is a great gig. We haven't got long left, so you need to stand up for the things.
All right,
you really
here goes then. How's Boris doing?
He's doing brilliant.
Okay.
He's doing. Look. Is Boris the perfect example of virtue? No, but he's done brilliant with getting us out of the European Union.
Yep.
He did brilliant when it came to. I mean, I didn't agree with everything they did with COVID, but he did his bit in COVID. Right now, you've got to give the man his due. He's stepping up in the face of Russian aggression, and I think he looks very much. When I say the statesman, he's believable, and you can see that.
He's a bit shabby for a statesman, isn't he?
Well, he's not. But you know what? But you couldn't say that about a woman, so you shouldn't say that about Boris. It's because it's not about his looks; it's about what he does and how he steps up.
No, it's a strong defence. Black Lives Matter. Taking the knee.
Yeah.
Would you take the knee if you were on an athletics track today?
That's a great question. So I've not. Look, I understood because when what happened to that chap?
Yeah, but at 63, you've got to say what you think, haven't you?
I'll say what I think. But I understand why it all kicked off.
Yeah.
And that was awful. What happened to that chap? I don't know now, a year and a half later, whether football players kneeling before a match means anything more than the kick-off or anything else that they do. So it's become a little bit ritualistic now. Would I have done it? The question you asked was, would I have done it? If my athletic career depended upon it, yeah.
That's a very honest answer. And you're now a life coach. What's a life coach? Who do you help?
Yeah. Well, I help all sorts of people from executives to a housewife.
Yep.
Yeah. Existential issues is my thing. And what is that about? All of us have two things in common. We're thrown into this world without our say-so. And one day, whether we like it or not, we're going to be ripped out. And those things create anxiety, isolation, alienation.
Yeah.
And I support people as an advisor, coach, around some of the challenges they've got with what's called limit situations. So all of a sudden, Nigel, you say something wrong, you're out on your ear, you haven't got a pot to in. What do you do? Where do you go? All of a sudden you're worried, and you've got a little bit of time to walk on the journey.
So you come to Kriss Akabusi and get it all sorted out.
That's easy for you to say.
I got that wrong. Thank you for joining me on Talking Pints.
Bless you, mate.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.